All right, today I want to talk about WooCommerce single product pages. And this video is going to be a little bit more unscripted and off the cuff. So let's just take a look at a demo site here. And this is definitely not a dig on our own web designers here at Barn2, but this is just a very standard single product page within WooCommerce with very little modifications. I find this single product page to be uninspiring at best. And today we're going to fix that with Elementor. So I'm using the Elementor Pro plugin. If you don't have Elementor Pro, I'll be linking it below in the description, but you do need the Pro version because it enables you to use the WooCommerce widgets and blocks and all of that. So let's take a look on the web at some examples of different brands that are reimagining how to use single product pages. And then we'll jump into Elementor and show you how to set this up as a product page template so you can do it for yourself across your entire site. Here's a little look around the web at some popular e-commerce sites. So here's a look at Nike. Although it is also quite simple, it has a lot more sort of dynamic fields. So first of all, it does have a nice layout for the images. I believe this is some sort of custom thing that you can't just pull off by default within WooCommerce, but we'll talk about that more later. Then over here, you've got the different sizing. Again, this is something you need a plugin for, and I will talk about that as well. Then you've got the add to cart buttons. Okay, that's fine. You've got a short description here. You've got more product details and a light box, which is really handy. And then you have these drop downs for the information about deliveries and reviews. Okay, scrolling down, this one's very simple. You just have some recommendations. Nothing much more to show there. Then this one is away luggage, and they've got a much bigger image here on the left. They take up the full frame. And they've got the thumbnails also on the left-hand side here. And they've even got a video showing here, which is really cool. And then, of course, you can see the product options. And as you cycle through, you can see the different colors, which is really a nice feature, of course. And then they have some pop-up information about airline compatibility, which is specific for them. And then as you scroll down, you can see that they're using the product tabs, which is perfectly fine. And it does, keep everything clean. But there are other ways to do this. As you scroll down the page, you can see more information about the product, as well as some more of these sort of column blocks. And finally, we have this Allbirds shoes, and they've got a full frame for the images. And then they've got this totally different design for where the reviews are, where the prices are, where all of the different variations boxes are. And then you can select size using these drop down. And yeah, as you scroll down, you can see more information about the product. This is all just on the single product page. They've got videos, they've got all these really cool graphics and stuff. So my point is, you can do a lot more with the single product page than what you get by default in WooCommerce. All right, let's jump into WordPress and see what steps we need to take to set up this product page template with Elementor. So from the dashboard here, you can see I have WooCommerce installed, obviously. And then I also have, as a theme, I have the Hello Elementor theme. And then down here, you can see I also have Elementor Pro. And then I also have advanced custom fields. I'll talk more about that later. This is entirely optional, but it's a way that we can add some more functionality to the product page. So from Elementor, you'll go to the theme builder in templates. So you can see there's an option for save templates. Let's go to the theme builder. Let that load up. And first of all, you can set up your header and footer here in the theme builder. But what I'm most interested in is the single product pages. Now you can see I've already set up different layouts, but you can actually add a new one by clicking on this add new. And you can choose from these templates, but I actually think it's better if you just start fresh by closing out of that box there. And then you can just see this blank product page that we have. So as a reference, this is a template that I built ahead of time, and I'll just walk you through what's on this page here. So we have the normal product gallery here on the left, as well as all of the thumbnails here. And then over here on the right, I've got the breadcrumbs, the product title, a summary of the reviews with the stars, and then a short description for the product. And then we have the product price, as well as the options, because this is a variable product. And we will also modify this with some plugins later on. And then the add to basket option. And this whole section became, I actually made it sticky. So when you scroll down, you keep seeing this section until you get down to this lower section here. Now, this is a little toggle I made. This is just some custom text, which will be standard for all products. But this one is a custom field. And this custom field can be modified in the actual product editor section within WooCommerce. So that's quite handy because it can be different for every product, but it will dynamically load because I'm using a custom field here. So that's pretty cool. And then I've got the reviews section here, but you'll notice that this is not part of the normal tabs on the standard product page. I've actually broken out these tabs into different sections on this page. So we have a review section here. I think reviews are very important, and it's one of the main reasons why people will buy or not buy a product. So that's why it's prominent on the page. Then further down here, we have a section broken into columns. We can make this full width if you want. I've got it boxed at the moment. So we have on the left side, we've got text with an image, and then vice versa. And I got that inspiration from one of the other product pages. And then this is just to show you what's possible. I've got a product gallery running through here, and then the recommended section, which actually has a modifiable header here, a heading. So you can write something else instead of goes well with, you could write something completely unique to your store. Okay, so that's what I've created so far. Now let's walk through the steps of how to actually make that in Elementor. So let's add a 2-column section here, 50-50 for now. And we can make this full width if we want to. Click on this plus button. And if we go to WooCommerce, or just type in WooCommerce, then we'll find the product images. And this is what we want to add in here. Now let's add a new column. I'm not sure why that didn't work before, but something really weird going on here. Now don't worry about this weird cropping of the image. This goes away once you actually load the page. It's just an issue with the preview on the editing side of things. But let's go into the product images, and then we can actually make some edits. So for example, we can add spacing between the images and the gallery. So let's just put like 10 pixels there. We can add spacing between the gallery images as well. Now, this is one of the biggest things I was frustrated with while I was working on this page yesterday. There's basically no more options than what you see here. So in this style section, this is really all you get. You can play around with the border, but you can't, for example, add these little navigation arrows on the left and right of the image, or as you can see here in this Nike image, you got little arrows like this. Same thing on this page here. You've got arrows. And then they also have the images, the thumbnails on the left-hand side so that they're visible right from the beginning instead of having to scroll down and see them. I tried for hours, honestly, to see if there was a way to do this. I tried adding a vertical gallery on the left-hand side of the page. I tried, custom CSS with the help of AI. And nothing was just giving me a really satisfying conclusion for this. So to sum it all up, basically, unless you're somebody who can custom code this yourself, kind of stuck with things as they are. And I'm a little bit annoyed by it, but there's a lot more to go through in this video. So let's just skip into the next area. I'm just going to quickly add a new column here and move it over to the left-hand side. I'll make it really small, like about 7 or 8%. And this is just going to limit the amount of space that the shoes can take up over on the left-hand side. But one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go into this column here, into the advanced section under responsiveness. I'm going to hide this on the tablet and mobile view so it doesn't make any kind of weird gaps or cause anything to be squished over to the side when you change this screen size. Now let's come over to the column on the right and let's start with some breadcrumbs. So we'll just search for that. WooCommerce breadcrumbs. We can pop that in here. Just need a little bit more space at the top here. So just going to add a little bit of margin to the top. Here we go. Somebody smarter than me will be able to tell me why this is happening, why there's an overflow between the header and this section that I'm working on. But I don't have time to figure that out right now. So I'm just going to add the margin for now, and maybe we'll get rid of it later if it's causing problems. So back to the column we were working on, We added our breadcrumbs. Let's just update the typography a little bit here. So size of the breadcrumbs. So yeah, 11 pixels, maybe 12 maximum. We don't want it to be too big, but we still want it to be something people can see and use to navigate. All right, that will be okay. Now we can add a new section. This one's just going to be the product title. We can drag this in here. Try one more time. Perfect. And it's got the H1 tag. You can, of course, update the typography if you need to, if you want to make it bolder or something like that. For example, let's just change the default weight to semi-bold. There we go. Now we'll bring in the reviews. Let's drag in the product rating right below the title there. Now we can edit things like the star color to our primary color, for example. Empty star color, let's go with a lighter option like that. We can also change the link color to our primary color so it matches. And then let's move on to the next section. Let's add the short description for the product. Now, be aware that this section could become very long if you type too much into your short descriptions. So keep all of that longer text for the main description, and we'll go through that later on. Then, of course, we need the product price. We can change the color of this to our main color and maybe update the typography a little bit. Let's make it a little bit heavier, like check how semi-bold looks. I think that looks even better. Now, what I've actually done on my page that I edited before, I actually created an internal section so that I could have this sticky action for it to do. So I'm actually going to do that again here. Let's create a new intersection. So type in intersection, drag that here. We'll delete one of these columns, and then we can drag this product price into the column here. And the next one will be the add to cart, add to basket in this case. Okay, we got two of those. I don't know why that happened. Well, we'll just delete one of them. There we go. Now this is set up as a variable product. So there will be this choosing options section, which wouldn't be there if it was just a simple product. And let's edit our add to basket button, update the color to match our theme. And that's probably okay for now. The rest looks okay. We can obviously update the typography if needed. And then we'll add a toggle into this section here. Again, strangely, it's adding two at a time. I'm not sure why. So I'll just delete one of these. Now we can edit this toggle. So we can update the name and the main text of this toggle. I'll just do that real quickly. Okay, so that's good for toggle number 1. But for toggle number 2, I mentioned that I used a custom field. So let's actually just talk about that real quick. First of all, we can just give this a name. Let's give it the name material. Then before we can do the next step, we need to actually have a custom field to populate this area through dynamic tags. So let's quickly go back to our website dashboard here, and then we'll go to ACF plugin. And if you don't have this installed, you can always just find it very easily in the plugin repository. And then you can click on add a new field group if you don't have one already. I have one here. It's product details. This is all custom. You just write whatever you want to write. I'll click on edit here. And then you add a new field. Click on add field to do that. I'll edit this one just to show you. You add the details that you see here, like the field label, field name, and the default value. And then you come down here, and in the settings, you show this field group if the post type is equal to product. And that makes it a product post type or a product field, okay? Click on Save Changes, all right? Then go to your actual product that you are working on, click on Edit, and then you can scroll down here, and there should be a new section called Product Details, and then whatever you set it up, in my case, Materials, and then you can set up the exact details for this specific product. And depending on if you've done this for each of your individual products, then it will show different things based on what you've written. And that is updated dynamically. So let's go back to editing the product. And here we're going to click on dynamic tags and we'll go with post custom field. Our key will be the name of the custom field. So this would be materials. Now it's dynamically showing the information that I wrote in this product in particular, but it can be different for another product if I update the information in that product's editor. I know it's a little bit confusing, but we've created the custom field, we've populated it, and now we're dynamically showing it. All right, so that's all I wanted to add into this top section here with the images and prices. But let's talk about this next section down here. And the first thing I want to add is the reviews. But one thing I want to tell you that I found out about is the fact that reviews are the same thing in WordPress as comments on any other type of post. So reviews for a product are treated the same as comments. And that means we can insert a comments widget. So let's click on this widget here. And this is actually a post comments widget. So let's find that over here on our one that we're editing. We'll click on add post comments, drag that in here. Try again. Perfect. And this will also dynamically show all of the reviews related for this particular product, as well as a small dialog box for people to add their own review, which will help you to get more reviews faster, ideally. So down here, let's add a new heading. And we can even edit this text if it's going to be the same on all product pages. So let's write more info. And then below that, let's add the product content, which is like the long description for the product. And this can be further edited by going into the edit screen for the product and editing this section specifically with Elementor. I have an example of that here. So this is actually editing the product itself. So we're actually editing this product right now. We can't edit this upper section because that's in the product template. But down here, we have the power to add different images and description sections. And we can really style this in any way we want to. And then furthermore, we can add another section specific to this product as well. Or we can do that in the product template. So this is looking really good so far. Let's just add one more section below here. We'll give it a title as well. So nice heading. And then we'll grab this upsells widget and drag it in here. And you'll notice that it does have this "you may also like" title, but we can actually get rid of that by just going into the style section. Click on the heading here, and then we can actually hide the heading. And that allows us to actually edit the heading rather than just being stuck with the default value. We can also change things like how many products are being shown in this content section. So we can just do 3 columns, and we can change how they're being ordered. We can do a lot of things with the style. For example, if I go down to the button, and I can change the background color of the button to my primary color, and I can change the text color to white. Okay, there we go. And then with everything in place, now we can finally hit publish and save this as our single product template. We'll add a condition for where we want to show this. Now the plugin is warning me that I already have a product template for this same condition, so I'm not actually going to set this up right now, but this is how you would set it for just your products. So let's just see what we've created here on the product page. So this is the product page, how it looks right now. Obviously, we can view these images in the light boxes, and we can scroll through them. You can see the breadcrumbs, all of the elements that we added. We can also choose from the different options. And when we actually do that, it will update to this thumbnail because I set that up in the back end as well. This area here is sticky, although I can see there's a few little issues like this clear button doesn't seem to want to stay where it is. And also this price, which has come up dynamically, the color is wrong. But yeah, this section is sticky, goes down till here. We can see the reviews and then more details and all of these dynamic sections that we added ourselves. Okay, so it's looking good, but this in particular, this section where we add the options, it's definitely very clunky and it's not ideal in terms of modern shopping. So in this next section, I want to show you 2 ways that you can solve this using plugins from Barn2. Okay, a little behind the scenes. It's been an hour since I recorded the first part of this video because I had a meeting and that's just how life works. So we're going to dive right back in and I'm going to talk about what we're doing here on the product page. So what I was talking about that we really want to improve on this product page is showing these variations. I specifically created a variable product with a lot of variations for this purpose, because I think that it's realistic, and especially for something like shoes, you've got to pick a bunch of different custom sizes and perhaps different colors, styles, things like that. So in my opinion, there are 2 great plugins that can make this look a lot better. The first one is WooCommerce bulk variations. I'll put links below in the description to all of the plugins that I'm using in this video. You can also go and view the demo. We have a front-end demo, and you can also launch an admin demo, and you can try it out for yourself. At the moment, I already have the plugin installed on my website, so I'm just going to activate it. So you can go to the WooCommerce settings, click on products, and then the bulk variations tab. And then you can select some of these different grid options. Scrolling down, there are different ways that you can show the variation images, everything like that. And now let's see what that looks like when we reload the product page here. And so instead of seeing some drop-down list, we're instead able to see this entire table layout. And you can see here that I'm also displaying the individual prices for these different variations, and the red ones are on sale. And then what somebody can do is they can actually go through and find the size and the color that they want. They can add one to their basket. And if they want to add a different size or a different color into their order, they can do it like that. And then there's 2 total items and they can click on add to basket. So this is definitely ideal for items where buying more than one is typical. With pairs of shoes, it's probably not the most applicable use case, but it does give you this nicer display where it shows you all the different sizes and colors in one handy table layout. But perhaps a better option is our WooCommerce product options plugin. And again, you can view a demo of this plugin, or you can try it yourself on an admin demo. So rather than the typical drop-down option that you see here, the plugin can be used to make a bunch of different options, like these color swatches and image buttons. Now I'm going to show you how that works in the plugin itself on my website. So I'm going to go to products and click on product options. By the way, of course, I already have the plugin installed on my website. I'm going to add a new group. We'll call this one shoe sizes. And instead of displaying it globally on all products, I'm just going to pick up the product here. We're just going to show it exclusively on this product, or we could choose a category like shoes, and then we don't have to choose each individual product. Down here at the bottom, I'm going to add an option. And from this list, I'm going to choose the text labels option. Now I could create a bunch of custom choices within the plugin. That's totally fine, but I'm actually going to use my existing variation attributes that I already have. I have this EU shoe size, and we can see all of them with the label, which matches the number on the shoe size. Anyway, let's just write choose your size as the description. Now I will quickly click on save. And after adding something like shoe size here, let's make it EU shoe size so it's more specific. This will display. And now I can click on save quickly. Then I'm going to add a new type of choice. So we'll go add a new option. And this one, we're going to choose the color swatches. Now, once again, we're going to use the existing variations from our store. We're going to choose the color. Now, one extra step is I do actually have to set the color of the product using the color swatch picker here, but the plugin will only pull the colors that are actually associated with this product. So even though you see a big list of colors here from my attributes list, the only ones that will actually be showing here are the blue, green, gray, and the red one. Once I've set those, I can add a description if I want to, and you can choose to display the color swatches only, or you can display a label along with the color swatches. Let's just leave them as is, save those changes. Oh my God, one more time, I forgot to give it a name, so let's just do that. Okay, and now we can click on save. Sorry about that, people. Okay, so our options group is set up. Now let's see how that looks on the product. First, I'll just need to disable the plugin that's creating this bulk variations grid. So let me just do that and come back to this product page. All right, and so now I've just reloaded this product page, and you can see the shoe sizes are all displaying as text labels like this, and the colors are displaying as color swatches. And one great thing is that when I choose a color, it still updates the thumbnail, because once again, I set this up in the back end on all of the variations. I set the different photo thumbnails for this color. And then you can choose a different shoe size and it will update the price dynamically. I can also clear my choices and start again. The last thing I want to show you how to do is set up the conditional logic for this. So if I want to show this shoe size when a color is selected, but only after the color is selected, then I'll select the condition color equals any choice, and then click on Save Changes. Now let's refresh this page. And the only thing we see initially is the color options. So let's say I choose blue as my color option, then immediately it pops up with the shoe size. And once I choose the shoe size, then I can add it to my basket. And that's a nice way to clean up the page a little bit in case you have other options that you want to add, but you don't want to mess up the design you just worked so hard to create. All right, so that's been a deep dive into product page customization using Elementor Pro, as well as some professional plugins from Barn 2, which make for a better way to display variable products. If you want to learn more about our product options plugin that I just showed you, you can check out this video here, or you can click on this link here to test out a live demo of the plugin. And of course, thanks for watching.